welcome back to Adventures in Jir'Haniya. We have our awesome players joining us. Verkus, played by Charles, Kastan, played by Matthew, Aramos, played by Rex, and Tide, played by Victor. And I'm going to give us a quick recap and we will jump in. So, in our last session, our first session, our four heroes all came together in Havenhearth to meet with a Star Warden named Hirgon. He spoke of a prophecy by Zirkalla, the last Star Reader, given just before her death, that four unlikely heroes would emerge and go on a journey that would prepare them for being crucial parts of great changes coming to Jir'Haniya. Now, Hirgon wished to bring the group southwest to the mysterious Mound of Mulkarian, but the team took a detour to go towards the town of Oakmoor, which is just south of Havenhearth. It's apparently been taken over by goblins. And upon arriving, they discovered rumors and signs of the goblins being strange, more organized than normal, even some rumors of something even more nefarious. They've taken up headquarters in the town temple, which is a temple to a little old town god named Dorman, who's a god of harvest and plenty, really only worshipped in that town of Oakmoor. Now, the team set up an ambush and was very effective in taking out a small squad of goblins very, very easily. But as they were preparing to take on more of the goblin patrols, Hirgon ran up and said, "We have bigger problems we may have a bigger problem than we realized here." And that was the cliffhanger we ended the session on. Right where things left off. You all are standing. It is nighttime. It is about 10 p.m. in the evening. You are on the edge of the forest near the town of Oakmoor. 5 dead goblins concealed under moss and other magical growth. Traps laid out, but Hirgon has just run up. And he looks at you all, and he looks very troubled. He continues speaking and says, "We are in far greater danger than we thought. I know not if this is a trap or simply a turn of ill fate, but we need to act quickly. The wretched riders are here. Their strength is far beyond yours. You must not let them find you. I shall hold them off. You must go into the temple, take whatever is being used as a conduit, and then flee for your lives. You must survive, and you must be ready for when the eclipse comes. I transcribed Zirkalla's final prophecy as best as I could. Go to Greenshire and ask for Almirand. He will tell you where to find it. Now go, move quickly." And he draws his sword and he runs off towards the hill that you all scouted the town on earlier.
I hop on the white horse and start heading for the temple.
Same. Yeah, I'm gonna hop on my horse.
I'll jump on Bob.
Sweet.
And I'll put Olive in her seat.
Yay! I love it. I can't wait until our friend Will can do artwork of that. That's going to look adorable.
I want to put a hand on Kastan as we're walking to the temple, but I want my owl to be up, and I want to see if I can get a glimpse of these wretched riders that Hirgon is running toward, like in that, to see if there's anything I can see in that direction, like that he might be talking about.
Absolutely.
Would I know what the wretched riders are?
No, none of you have ever heard of this thing. So, as your owl flies up, you're able to see the town. It looks like nothing's changed. You still see some goblin patrols on the far ends of the town where you won't encounter them unless you go through the town. So they're kind of on the opposite side of the temple from you. So it looks like kind of you're not sure exactly how many are in the town, but it hasn't really changed since the last time you scouted it. Now you see Hirgon charging up this hill. The hill kind of faces looking east over the town. And you notice to the southeast that there are 13 riders on big horses, cloaked in black, riding hard for the town. It looks like they're going to kind
Like
of
the
be able
Hobbits, the Isengard?
Yeah, there's 13 of them, and it looks like they're going to arrive near where Hirgon is probably in about 4 minutes. They're moving pretty quick. So on your horses, you could get to the town temple in about the same amount of time as those riders are making towards Hirgon. So was there anything else you wanted to do with your owl, Victor, to scout?
As it's up, I'll kind of have it like head back towards the temple and kind of give us an idea of which alleys and side streets to take in the town to avoid patrols.
Perfect. Yeah, it's able to give you a good route. Based on the squad of goblins that you all took out at the end of the last session, there's actually a pretty noticeable gap in their coverage. So you're able to get to the temple. Well, your owl is able to see a route to the temple where you won't encounter any goblins. Outside of the temple, it looks like there's 2 goblins and a bugbear standing guard. So there's three on guard. So there's a tall bugbear with a big old like club with like nails and spikes in it, and then 2 goblins standing guard. But that's all that's facing you at the temple entrance. So
Where's the club? Is it like in his hand, or is it like?
yeah, he's kind of holding it like an old 1920s gangster, just kind of
like
holding it in his
lightly.
hand, just like like a big old billy club, just kind of
Lightly
right
holding
there.
it.
If
Just,
this,
like,
if this
tapping it in
universe
the
had
other
little
hand.
top hats, he'd have one on, and a menacing monocle.
He's got like a little newsy cap going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Cigar in his mouth.
Exactly. Yes. In this world, it would be a pipe. Let's give him a pipe canonically, just for fun. A
Those,
pipe
like,
smoking
corncob
bugbear
pipe.
with a big old club.
Does he?
And the
And you
monocle,
said
don't
2
forget the monocle.
goblins.
Yeah, 2 goblins.
Goblins.
So
Okay.
there's 3 people total guarding the temple entrance. And this temple, I think I described it last session, but it's kind of like it's like a single-story wooden structure with a little bit of a bell tower at the far end.
Yeah.
So pretty minimal. Like, I think if like the whole town were to crowd into it for a sermon or something, it would fit like maybe 100 people if it was jam-packed. So it's pretty small.
Okay. How far away are we from Muggsy the Bugsy?
Muggsy the Bugsy. That's his name now, obviously. Yes, Muggsy the Bugbear. So Muggsy and his 2 goons are they're about 2 minutes away from you by horseback, since y'all are moving quick. If you were to go on foot, it would take you like 4 or 5 minutes. Again, it's not a huge distance to cover from the edge of the forest into the town to the temple. So.
And we're on our horses going into town like this?
Yeah, I think it seems safe to say that Hirgon would have brought the horses with him when he came to alert you.
You did say that
we-
yet last time.
Yeah.
We could totally just
Ride them
ride
down.
them
I was
down,
gonna say, like, I have my bow. I can take a shot while
attack as we go, but then like
Yeah.
the horses
Likewise.
could definitely take a
Yeah,
nice
take a
little-
sizable chunk.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And
if you guys charge on horseback too, I mean, you'll be able to get but because the town, like, you guys are coming from, so the entrance to the temple faces towards the main street of the town, and you guys are coming from the opposite end. There's like a graveyard behind the temple, and you guys could charge across that and then kind of basically ambush the people guarding the front of the temple. You've only seen them with Victor's owl, so you definitely have surprise. You'll get a surprise round of attack plus advantage from being on horseback. Like, this is going to be pretty easy.
I could potentially restrain them.
You could potentially do that.
if you do that, and
Instead of taking a shot with my bow as we're riding up, I would like to then cast Entangle centered on the bugbear and the 2 goblins,
Oh, sweet.
which would also become, I think it becomes difficult terrain as well.
Let me
I
look up
think,
Entangle real quick.
I think that's later, because with Entangle, I think it just grabs, and then anything that it doesn't encompass.
No, for the duration, these plants turn the ground into difficult terrain.
Oh,
It does, yeah.
So
And they
then
have to
if
succeed
those
a
are-
strength
something different
save or be restrained, yeah.
Yeah, so if those wretched riders do come up, at least they would have to pass through the rough terrain, difficult terrain.
that is.
I'm thinking Rough Riders from Avatar: The Last Airbender, because we've been watching a lot of that lately, and so I'm just imagining these dudes on like these massive rhinos,
Nice.
fire bending.
That's awesome.
So
I
yeah,
hope they're not
whenever
firebenders.
I hope not. Yeah. So whenever we're in range for that, I need to be at least 90 feet away, or at most 90 feet away, for me to be able to cast that spell centered on them. But once we're in range, I will do that.
Sweet.
And then
Go ahead.
and then also while we're riding up, I want to see if there's a way out in the back. Like, I want to see what exits we have as options
Perfect.
when we leave.
So I think that your owl kind of hovering over the temple for a few minutes while you all ride there. No need to roll a perception. You would notice that there is a small door in the back of the temple. It looks like it's locked from the inside, just based on the latch mechanism, and it doesn't look very well used. It looks like pretty pretty flush with the wall. There's not a lot of dirt movement around it, so it looks like it's not used often. But there is a back entrance that reasonably you should be able to open from the inside. Getting in the back from the outside would be a little more difficult. But with your owl also hovering over the temple, Kastan could cast Entangle before you all even go around the temple and enter the line of sight of the 3 guards. So, because the temple is like probably 200 feet long total. So as you're on the side of it galloping up, you could cast Entangle without direct line of sight, but using the owl. So you could just cast that and then turn the corner and engage if you wanted. So you froze for a second.
I would tell Kastan because my owl that I'm looking through.
Correct.
So I would just tell him where to cast. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think you guys could communicate that and cast it on their location accurately.
Okay. Yeah, he'll tell you kind of like where around the building to kind of direct your spell.
Yeah.
You can even kind of like I'll have my owl kind of like circle in that area, so you can see like where the owl is, and just as I cast below the owl.
Deal.
Sweet. Well, let me roll their strength saves. What's the spell DC on that, Kastan?
14, and I believe it's a strength save.
Sweet. So both goblins fail, and then the bugbear. He rolls a nat 1, so he is so Bugsy. So as you start to entangle Bugsy, he drops his club and his pipe falls out of his mouth. And he goes, "Oh!" and he goes to catch it, and so he gets like extra entangled in an awkward position, reaching for his pipe. So he is like, there's no mechanic for it. He's extra entangled. So with a
what
nat 1.
is the primary crop of this town?
It's the vineyards for winemaking.
Great. So just a bunch of grapevines come and like intertwine themselves around these guys. So they might be stuck, but they've got a snack.
Nice. That's very kind of you.
Yeah, just picturing it.
So they are stuck, and a few seconds later, all 4 of you ride up, and you see that they are not able to guard the entrance at all. They are stuck and kind of squirming against the grapevines binding them. So
are we like right next to them, or are we a good distance away still?
No, rounding the corner, you'd be like 20-30 feet from them.
Oh, I'm in that case, I'd like to just close the distance, and only good goblin is dead goblin.
Go for it. I mean, this would be I guess if we're gonna go into a quick slaughter combat, let's just roll initiative. Let's just do a quick initiative.
Only good combat's a slaughter combat. 17 for my initiative.
Great. Let me write that down. 17 for Verkus.
19 over here.
Sweet. Give me a moment here. 19 for Eremos?
Yep.
Sweet. Drop the dice. Well.
Your cat will probably swallow it. It's fine.
That's what I was like, I'm going to get it in a second. I can't just leave it there. For a second, I was like, I'll just leave it while we do the live cast. And I was like, no. I don't think my cat can swallow a D20, but he's going to try. So that's okay. Well, yeah, one of my cats has a lot of common sense, and then my other cat does not have common sense, and he's the one who would. Haru would definitely try to swallow a D20. So
sounds like your cat's really a dog.
Yes. All right. So Eremos got a 19. Tide got a 5. And what is Kestan's initiative?
9.
9. Okay. Sweet.
These dudes are restrained in the grapevines, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we have advantage on these attacks.
Yep, I'm just pulling up the restraint conditions so we can look at everything for reference.
Like that, and speed is 0.
Yeah, speed is 0. Attack rolls have advantage. They have disadvantage, and they have disadvantage on any dex saves. So we're going to do surprise round real quick. Eremos, you get to go first.
Yep, I strike the nearest goblin to me.
Sweet.
With a 20 to hit for 4 damage.
Okay, nice. That knocks him down to below half health. As you swing your mace, and the soft grapevines. I mean, they're they're not like rigid like a tree branch. So striking him doesn't like break the bonds holding him. It just kind of moves with him, but he's still restrained, and he goes ah as you hit him. So nicely done. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn, Aramos?
I will be actively moving through the door if they're not bodily blocking it as well.
Yeah, totally. So because it's a surprise round and we're kind of doing the movement quickly as you, I picture you like jumping off your horse, and as you're running towards the door, just boom, and just sideswiping a goblin with your mace. Nice. Well, then we'll say you end your turn about 5 feet from the entrance to the temple. How's that?
Great, thank you. Yep.
Cool. Verkus, you're up next.
All right, I'm gonna try and take out Mugsy the Bugsy.
Go for it.
So my first swing was a 25 to hit.
That absolutely hits.
That is 7 points of damage.
Nice.
And then I'll use my bonus action to swing again.
Sweet. That'll be an advantage as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for advantage. That'll be a 22 to hit.
22 absolutely hits.
And 1 point of damage.
1 point of damage? Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the dual wielding feat yet, so I don't add my modifier to my second attack.
Oh,
Nice job, cousin.
He's still standing.
So yeah, you run up and you slash at Bugsy, and he kind of grunts loudly, and he has a pretty like strong grunt, but you can tell he's pretty afraid right now based on what you're doing. So he takes a pretty good hit. It's about a quarter of his HP that you take it down total. So
Oh god. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick around. I don't want these guys to come up behind us if they ever get out.
good call. So after Verkus's turn, we're in the surprise round. So Castan, you're up next.
I will hop off Bub and just kind of. Can I instruct them? Like, I know that I don't have Speak with Animals going anymore, but can I just kind of instruct them to like meet us around back as I'm hopping off?
I would have you roll like as a free roll an animal handling check to convey that to them, but it won't be super difficult. So yeah, go for it.
That's a nat 1.
So you tell Bub, go meet us around back, and Bub goes, and you have no idea if he understood you or not.
Great, Bub. I'll meet you back there. And so as I'm running, I'll kind of like use my quarterstaff two-handed and like pole vault over the grapevines.
Nice.
And stick my quarterstaff in the face of this bugbear. And
cool.
trying to launch myself through into the temple entrance.
Can you roll an acrobatics check? If you roll really bad, it's not really going to do much. But if you roll really good, we'll have some cool stuff happen. So
that's a 19 for the acrobatics check, which I kind of wish I'd gotten on the animal hit.
Well, yeah. So you pole vault like you've been doing it your whole life, and it's super exhilarating for you. You're like, wow, I feel like I'm flying. This is amazing. And so
cousin, watch this. Boom.
I would like you to deal an extra 1d4 of damage if you hit the bugbear due to your flying down attack. You don't have that?
I definitely do not know. It's a
even with advantage?
No, I rolled a 4 and a 5. So that's a 7 to hit.
So you slam down, like everyone for a second stops in this sudden chaos and just beholds the graceful form of Castan flying through the air, and then watches as you take your quarterstaff and just smack the ground really powerfully like a foot from the bugbear. Everyone's kind of like, huh, that's unexpected. So,
internally, I'm just thinking, I'm like, I've already restrained him. I really don't think I need to hit him. Like, kick him while he's down. It's just not needed. It's fine.
Hit him.
You got this, cousin. And I just launch over and head right in.
Nice. So with that high of an acrobatics roll, I'm gonna say that you also like kick in the door to the temple as you
Heck
vault
yeah.
over. So at Eremos, right as you reach the door, you just see Castan just shoot through it, and Castan did a little superhero landing right in the foyer.
Oh,
And
nice.
at the start of your next turns, I will tell you what you see inside.
Gay.
So Tide, it is your turn to finish off the surprise round of combat.
Yeah, I ride up on the horse I'm on, and I'll sacred flame two of the ones that have two of them been hit, or has everyone been hit at this point?
No,
No,
just two of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the bugbear and one of the goblins. The third goblin is, or the second goblin, the third enemy is at full health.
Okay, so yeah, I walk up and like I just kind of like I look at like I'm assuming there's glass on this temple, and I see like the moonlight kind of reflecting off of it, and I kind of magically like pull it off of the glass, and I have and like it like the light like just hits the two on the ground. They both have to make a dexterity saving throw.
With disadvantage.
Yes.
It's not a ranged spell attack. It's just a dex saving throw on their end.
I know,
Yeah,
but
they
from
have
being
disadvantage 'cause they're
restrained,
Yeah.
Oh,
their dex
they
saves
roll
are-
disadvantage
They
on their
have
save.
disadvantage.
Yeah, they do.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're good. It's great.
I'm
So
advocating for you now, Tide.
Sorry, I was just like, well, because last session I was like, oh yeah, like I rolled a spell attack. I was like, I'm not rolling a spell attack, but I'm not rolling anything. They're rolling
They're
disadvantage.
saving,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Did you want to target both goblins or one goblin and the bugbear?
The bugbear and the goblin that's been hit.
Okay, perfect. So the goblin that's been hit's gonna roll at disadvantage. 2 nat 1s. Oh my goodness.
It's just dead.
Yeah. So it what's the damage that it takes?
It's a D8, so that's
Well, big numbers.
5.
Shout out to my buddy
Yeah.
Will for giving me these elvish dice.
Nice.
It's
Oh,
hard to
those
see
are
on the
gorgeous.
camera, but yes. That is a 1, but because he rolled a nat 1, I'm gonna give a bonus D6 to flailing damage. Okay, so that's a kill. So he's dead.
Yep.
So the first goblin gets hit and kind of like writhes and just like melts. And then the bugbear is gonna roll a disadvantage. He has a +2 to his dex saves. So his lowest is a 9, which fails.
Fails.
5 damage.
A 7 on the
just
D8. A 7.
3.
Oh, 3.
3 radiant damage.
Oh, 3 radiant? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're rolling separately.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. They each get hit by this.
Targeted. Yeah.
Nice. So the bugbear takes it in the back of the shoulder and kind of goes, "Whoa!"
There's
And,
a little like instead of like a sunburn, it's like a moon burn. It's like a very similar like.
So instead of his
Nice.
skin turning red, it turns purple.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, his skin does turn purple, and you can just see the radiant heat radiating off it, and it looks very painful. So
Well,
that is
I'll,
the end. Go
Well,
ahead.
I'll get off of my horse, and then, ooh, should I try riding to the back to see if I can get that door open, and then kind of.
Do a little flank.
No, I'll get off of my horse and I'll have my owl fly down to where we're at.
Cool.
And I'll stay behind with Verkus. And then yeah, that'll be my turn.
Nice. So now we are about to move into regular combat, but before we continue, Castan and Eremos looking
boy.
into the temple. It's quite dark inside. Do either of you have dark vision?
I don't believe so. Let me check. I'm gonna say no for now.
Okay. And you're a few feet back from where Castan's landed, because Castan bolting through the door like a badass. You're gonna be like 5 or 10 feet into the little foyer. So what you see, Castan, is that this is a pretty bare bones temple. There's some shelves and tables along the wall. Like it looks kind of like not cluttered, but like people use this a lot. And then there's like benches or pews, and kind of a little stage at the far end for people to address the crowds and stuff. But it looks like some of the furniture has been knocked over. And at the end of this little kind of rectangular main room, which we'll say is 100 feet in length. So at the far end of it,
Wait, before you describe any further, I think my dark vision only extends 60 feet.
ooh, okay,
Well, it's 60 feet and then so much more
is dim.
dim.
Hey,
Oh,
perfect.
okay.
So-
what I was going to tell you is going to be shrouded in a little bit of mystery anyway, so that fits perfectly thematically.
more.
So yes,
Literally shrouded.
yes. So you can tell between your dark vision and the dim lighting, you can tell the layout of the room. You can see all the major furniture. Nothing there's a surprise. It looks like over by the podium though, and Eremos, you just see a dark room. It looks like actually Eremos, you would notice some tiny slivers of light about halfway down. It looks like at about the halfway mark of this rectangular room there are windows, and it looks like they've been covered. So there's tiny little edges around where the covering is imperfect. But yeah, so it is pretty dark inside. So you can't see what's in there, Eremos, but Castan at the far end, you do see it looks like 3 small figures on their knees bowing, and some kind of little small object floating about 5 feet above the floor. For a second, you think it's like something like a statue coming out of the podium, but then you realize it is floating not above the podium, but just a little bit behind it, kind of in the middle of these 3 figures who are kneeling. And you would also hear some very quiet chanting coming from that direction as well. So that is what you all see. Really quick, I need to write down something here.
I lean over to Eremos and I think we're interrupting something. Maybe we should just leave.
I think it's worth interrupting.
Okay, so going
But I'll
back now.
describe what I've been able to see to Eremos so that he's
thank you.
aware.
Thank you.
Perfect. So on your turn, Castan, that'll be like a free action for the first beginning of your turn. You can point that out to him. So actually, to start off the combat though, Eremos, it is your turn. And I guess, yeah, we'll just say that in that couple seconds as you guys enter in, that Castan would point out what's at the far end of the room.
Yeah. So I would like to, if I can, strike the bugbear with my morning star and then run in and try to rip one of the curtains down off the windows. Would that be possible? How
So
far am I from the windows? And
the windows are 50 feet from where you are now.
okay.
So, and then the bugbear was a little bit away from the door, like 10 feet. So what you could do is move 10 feet, strike the bugbear, and then move 30 feet into the temple. And then on your next turn, you'd be able to finish the final movement to get over to that window.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and forsake the attack on the bugbear. I'm not thinking he's gonna escape his binds and hem us in from behind. So I'm gonna use a dash action to get to the window and rip one of the coverings down.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
And
Totally.
if there's any terrain in there, I will totally trip on it, like pews or chairs or whatever. Like,
Well, actually, I mean, the
The
path to the
upturned
window would be
furniture.
relatively clear. So how about this? Roll me a perception or an acrobatics, and as long as you get above a 5 on either, you'll be fine. But below a 5, you will trip and fall on your ass. Okay, you're good.
I'm
16.
I'm
You're
good.
good.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, you run over there and you make it, and you pull down the curtain. And as you rip down the curtain, you're able to see the room illuminated in moonlight. It's dim lighting, but you're able to make out all the furniture and everything. And the 3 over here. I'm just drawing a quick little map.
Right.
You see that about 50 feet further into the temple, you do see the 3 figures kneeling and something floating. And actually, from that far away, the little object that's floating, it looks not quite spherical, but roughly about that size. And you'd have to get a little closer to tell exactly what it is in the dim light. But it's something small, something you could carry in your hands for sure. So
If I still
The
have
bowling
10 feet,
ball.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, bowling ball size. If
yeah,
I still have 10 feet of movement, I will move 10 feet towards that ball.
perfect. I have reflected that on my tiny bare bones map of the inside of the temple. And so you are placed there, and that is a good turn. You've illuminated it for everyone, and you're closer to seeing what's going on in there. Verkus, you are up next, standing outside, engaged with Bugsy the Bugbear.
All right, I am going to swing at Bugsy
Go for it. At advantage.
at advantage. A 17.
That absolutely hits.
Awesome.
His AC is 16, but in the stat block it says shield, and he couldn't use a shield, and I didn't envision him with one, so I'm retconning that to be 14 AC, so he's very easy to hit. Yes.
Sweet. That'll be 9 points of damage.
Oh, So describe how you hit him and get him down to below 25% AC or HP.
I will. At this point, I am kind of swinging at him, and I don't see one of the grapevines, and I kind of stumble, and as I do, I cut the Achilles tendon.
Oof.
And hop back up, and I'm gonna go for my second attack.
Go for it.
The whole
He,
time
he
saying,
howls as you
cousin.
cut the. That's my cousin. Yeah, you hear him shriek loudly as you cut his Achilles tendon.
all right, and then that was a nat 1 and then a 16.
Woo!
I love
Okay.
this advantage.
There you go.
Thank you, Keston.
I mean, we're level 1. It makes sense that we're a little awkward.
So yeah, total 23 to hit.
Absolutely.
For 5 points of damage.
Nice.
Okay, so you knock him down to 2 HP. So your second strike, as you stand up, you just stab him. You stab him in the side, and he's shrieking and like, rah! And it is actually his turn next, and he's going to turn to you.
He's
And
angry.
yeah, he's going to turn and go, stop, please, stop, I surrender. I surrender. So for his turn, he's not going to attack you. He's going to attempt to raise his hands and surrender, but he can't. And that's his whole turn.
Does
So-
he
I was
say
going to
this
say
in
Bugsy
common?
is mad.
Yeah, he says it in very heavily accented common. He
Okay.
kind of grunts out, no, stop, surrender, are the 3 words he says a couple
No,
times.
stop, surrender.
I was going to say Bugsy's mad, but it looks like he's just a coward.
Yeah, he doesn't want to die. So Goblin 2, however, who's outside the temple, because of the 2 goblins that were guarding the temple, we have slain one between the Morning Star hit from Eremos and the Radiant Strike from Tide. But the second goblin, he is going to try to attack Verkus. Leaning over with his scimitar. He's going to be at disadvantage. It's going to be very hard for him to try, but he is going to try. I'm guessing a 7 misses.
Yep.
So that goblin flails in vain, trying to attack you. Keston, you are up next. You are about 10 feet into the temple. You are about 50 feet behind Eremos, and you are 90 feet from the 3 crouching figures at the far end of the temple.
Okay. I am going to, I guess, at this point, pull out my short bow
Ooh.
and I'll run up my 30 feet. I'll run up 30 feet closer to these people.
Sweet.
And I'll pull out my short bow and I'll just kind of like hold it and shout, "What are you doing? Explain yourself." Really unsure of myself, really insecure. Like I just kind of want to get them a little distracted if I can, see if I can start a dialogue.
Yeah, no, it totally startles them. You notice as they move suddenly that these figures are actually quite jumpy and nervous. And of the 3, they're kind of laid out in a triangle, and the one closest to you jumps up and turns around. And you notice that underneath its hood, it's about the size of a goblin, but its eyes are glowing bright green. And it turns and kind of yelps, and you notice that the little figure or the little object that was floating there, it had kind of been warbling, and it stops now. It's still floating there, but it's not warbling anymore. And the little figure that jumped up says, "You're not supposed to be here. Get out!" And that's what it screams, and that's your turn.
Can I
Actually,
shoot the orb?
you can try. It will be difficult, but you can absolutely try. Go for it.
Because let's give it a shot. No pun intended.
What is it that brought us here? What was like the wording? Like the goblins just overtook this town?
Yeah, it was. I wrote it down somewhere. Let me pull it up.
We were
here.
supposed to liberate this town from the goblin occupation, basically, and then Jir'Haniya told us to grab that conduit and run.
Yeah, but before that, before Jir'Haniya told you to grab a conduit and run, before that, there was a reward for anyone who was able to liberate the town. Like they were saying that it was 250 gold per person involved. if anyone liberated the town from the goblins that had taken over it.
Yeah.
So I got a dirty 20 to hit the orb.
Oh,
Would you have still hit it had you remembered that Hirgon said grab the conduit?
No.
Like he said that, and you're like, oh, that's right. Hirgon did say
Let's-
that.
Right.
hey, with the dirty 20 though, your arrow flies true and strikes this little object with a very kind of echoey metallic little clink, and the object falls and clatters to the ground loudly, but it doesn't sound like it broke. It doesn't sound destroyed. But all three of the figures down at the far end yelp, and from the pitch of their voice, they sound like goblins. So it's pretty safe to assume these three are goblins in, mysterious little robes and stuff, but nonetheless goblins. They do yelp and jump back and stagger back in surprise that you knocked down whatever that object was.
Okay.
But nothing.
Do you want me to roll damage for that, or?
No, actually, roll damage. Yeah, let's see what happens.
6 damage.
Cool. Okay. The object still doesn't sound like it breaks as it falls. So.
Okay, great.
Cool. And Gassan, is there anything else you'd like to do on your turn? Like
No,
do a
I think
bonus
we're
action
good.
or... Okay.
No.
Hyde, you are up next.
I kind of like start the motion of like pulling the light off the windows again, and I walk up to this like bugbear. I'm like, what are you doing here?
Me work. Me done fight. No. Surrender. Stop.
And then I drop the and then I drop the magic, and I make it, and he rolls his dex. I drop the light on him, so
Okay.
I'll do my sacred flame on him and the other goblin.
Okay.
He's not telling me anything.
So actually, he rolled a 14, the bugbear, for his lowest.
That's the save.
Okay, so is that half damage or none?
None.
None.
Okay. And then the other goblin, he rolls a 15. Okay, dang. They both.
Are they rolling with disadvantage because they're restrained?
Yeah, I am rolling with disadvantage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the goblin rolled a 13 and an 18, and he has +2 to his dex save. So
Jeez.
yeah, got lucky.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like we just need to grab this thing and dip.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'll like kind of like burn like the side of where they're on. I'm like, stay.
Right, roll an insight on Bugsy, Tide, if you don't mind.
Let's see.
Can I join in on that insight?
You absolutely can.
Ooh, that's a good 23.
Oh.
I got a 17.
Well, with both of those, you get the vibe that Bugsy is being sincere about stop, no surrender. So you feel pretty confident that if you leave him restrained, he might break out and run away, but you don't think he's going to try to fight you guys again. Plus, you can tell he's pretty badly wounded, so very badly wounded, in fact. So he doesn't seem like a threat anymore.
Cool. Stay.
And do you have any bonus actions or movement, Tide, that you want
No, it's just unfortunate. I don't get a lot of bonus actions. I will I'll kind of like step like foot in. I'll kind of like walk in towards the temple and kind of take a look at everything around too, and just kind of see what we come up with.
Cool. Yeah, you're able to move in through the doorway a little bit, and you can see Kastan and Eremos are in there charging towards three figures that are standing that look about the size of goblins but in robes.
That's my turn.
Okay.
Cool. And yes, Eremos, you will get when this combat is over, the bugbear's XP will be factored in because he was defeated in combat, even though he wasn't killed. But if you defeat someone through means other than killing, I still like to give XP for that because that's realistic. So, all right. So up next in the turn order are the three figures at the far end of the temple. The one on the left, from y'all's point of view, is going to charge at Eremos, and he is able to get close enough to attack.
Okay.
So he draws a little scimitar from under his robes. and he swings at Eremos and gets a nat 1, so he's actually going to trip and fall prone.
Nice.
Yes. He is
right
prone.
in front of Eremos.
Yeah, he just falls flat on his face and goes, ah! And his
Like a
little,
goblin.
his little sword gets stuck right in the ground, or in the wood of the floor as well. So, cool, that's not really a threat. The figure on the far right is going to move kind of closer to the window on the opposite side of where Eremos is, and he's going to pull out a little short bow and fire at Kastan. 7, so his arrow flies a couple feet over your shoulder. You're good to go. But the figure in the center with the glowing green eyes, that figure is going to, let me check here. He is going to raise his hands and go, "You should not be here," and throw them down, and 3 little orbs of green light appear behind him and then fly towards Kastan. And so that is going to do, hang on. Actually, sorry, there were 4 orbs of green light. He casts magic missile on you, basically. Yeah, so he can do
4
magic.
orbs?
Yeah,
That's a
so
level
it's a
2.
second level spell, yeah. So that is going to be.
He's not about to die.
What's your HP, Kastan?
We're
I got
level
it.
1.
So technically it's 11, but because we're currently under the tree of Nearfand, I have 7 temp HP.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank
So,
God.
you take 13 damage
Oh!
as all 4 of these magic missiles strike you in the chest.
All hail the great tree!
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So get out. Sweet.
You also still have 10 feet of movement because we're stoned.
Because we're what?
Because we had
Oh,
the tide
yeah,
leaf, so
tide
you
leaf.
still have
Yeah.
10 feet of movement.
It's
Okay,
true.
so then I would have moved 40 feet in earlier then, had I remembered that. I
Just
really
saying, you
need
can
to
get
look
real
at-
close to him next turn.
Yeah, it's true. So
Okay.
you all, because of the light of the magic missile, everyone in the party does notice that this figure in the temple conjures up some magic and strikes Kastan really badly.
Eremos, you'll also notice a look of sheer horror on my face right before I'm hit.
I'm expecting you to go down, but I see you still standing.
Good. I'm surprised too.
Yeah, with each missile's impact, there is like a kind of like pulsating flash of light, so everyone is keenly aware of this. But yeah, with that turn, Eremos, it is back to you. There's a prone goblin in front of you, and then this magic wielding goblin about 30 feet from you.
Yeah, I will rush the mage goblin. I will ignore the prone goblin.
Go for it. You are able to get engaged with him and make an attack if you wish.
So it's dim light. I can't really see in here, right? Like it's not.
It's
great,
dim, but like again, his eyes are glowing, and he just did that, and then you've opened the window, so like you can see where he is. It doesn't affect your roll at all.
Did I see him cast that? Did I see like an arcane focus, a wand, or a spell book or something that could be the source of his energy?
Roll an Arcana or Perception check as a free action as you sprint forward. With a dirty or an nat 20,
Nice.
yeah, you actually notice, and it's amazing that you notice because it's so subtle. But with every time the orbs were summoned, and then when they hit Kastan, that little object behind them pulsed a slight green. So that little object that was floating is his arcane focus.
Okay, so if I can angle it right, I'm going to like rush him and tackle him in a direction away from the orb, if I can.
Great.
Like a grapple check mixed with a shove check. I'm gonna make an athletics check.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's do a pose athletics check. I think would be the way to go for that. So. He rolls an 11, so you absolutely tackle him, and then I think with that amount, you could even move him like 10 feet away from that object.
Yeah, I'll just run full speed and then just tackle him, and we'll slide away from the orb.
Sweet. Yeah, so you tackle him, and he feels like a pretty average-sized goblin, and he just kind of goes, ah, as you tackle him. So yeah, and actually, can you roll me a d6 real quick?
Yeah, let's do it. 3.
3. Okay, so he takes 3 bludgeoning damage as you tackle him brutally to the ground. So, that is awesome. So he takes it. You can hear some bones crack as you tackle him, pretty brutally. So, nicely done, Eremos. That was a solid turn. And Verkus, it is your turn. You are outside, with Bugsy, the surrendering bugbear, and then Goblin number 2, who made the world's saddest effort to stab you with his scimitar.
So there's that goblin.
Yes.
How far away from my current location would you say I am from the goblin that Eremos is now entangled with?
He is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. He is 90 feet from you.
Okay. I'm going to look at Mugsy the Bugsy and say, stay, and stab the other goblin.
Sweet. Go for it.
Oh,
be
I have
at
to
advantage.
roll a concentration. Hold
Oh
on.
yeah, DC 10
Oh.
con save. Let's see it.
Is it a 10?
Yeah, DC 10. Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. I'm sorry. Continue with your turn. I will.
No, you're
I will
good.
roll.
Hey Josh, maybe would that be 4 separate DC 10 con saves from the 4 missiles?
No,
Since they deal
I'd say
damage?
they.
I feel like it's combo.
I feel like
Okay.
thematically, even though they would kind of go bum 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 bum, I
Yeah.
think for mechanics it would be one
A
roll of
single save.
concentration.
Okay.
Yeah,
They hit simultaneously.
exactly.
I think is in the wording of the spell. You
Yeah.
can choose where they hit,
Correct.
but
Like
they
hypothetically,
hit
that
simultaneously.
exactly that goblin could have cast a couple at Eremos and a couple at Castan, but he.
Yeah, that's what I thought he would do.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a 12.
Okay,
Sweet.
so you pass. Yeah, so the entanglement stays.
All right. I had rolled a 19, which is to hit, but that was my first roll. I'm going to roll to see if I get a nat 20.
Sweet.
Crit.
No.
Crit.
It was better, but no.
Okay.
For 10 points of damage.
Okay, so you eviscerate that goblin.
Yeah. I just had gone the first time it was a meaningful swing.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
As you swing and decapitate him, you notice a couple grapes fly up from the grapevines and fall down along with the head.
Perfect. Goblin blood wine.
Yeah,
Catch one
exactly.
in your mouth. Catch one in your mouth.
It sounds gross.
Yeah,
And then-
if you rolled a nat 20, just dex save, I would let you catch one of the grapes in your mouth if you wanted.
Oh my god, do it.
Do it.
No. Okay.
So, Verkus, that goblin was close enough to you and Bugsy that pretty negligible movement for you to kind of.
I kind of
forward
figured
and
because
strike.
he had swung at me.
Yes. So you still have 30 feet of movement if you'd like to take it.
I do. However, I'm going to use my bonus action, and the grapevines. I will them to encompass me, and as they reach out or they dissipate, I'm no longer there, and grapevines instead appear 30 feet within. I'm using my face step.
Ooh. Very cool.
My
Okay.
cousin used my vines.
And then from there, I'm going to rush another 30 feet because that's
Sweet.
a bonus action to use my face step.
Yes,
Nice.
it is.
Very cool.
I just wanted it to be thematic.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So Verkus, you face step and then charge through the temple, and you get to where you're within 5 feet of Castan. So you are now 20 feet from Eremos and the tackled mage goblin. You are also 20 feet from goblin number 4, which is the one that fired an arrow at Castan and missed. And you are also 20 feet from the prone goblin that tried and failed horribly to attack Eremos. So that's where you're at in the temple.
Okay.
Sweet. Now, before we move on, after Verkus' turn, just for flavor, we're going to say the horses have a turn now. And because Castan gave an animal handling check of 1 when telling them to go behind, based on what they're about to do, you're going to be pretty sure that they misunderstood your instructions.
Love it.
Bub is going to get on his hind legs and just make a big show of it, and the other horses are going to kind of follow, and he's just going to charge right in and he tramples Bugsy to death, just runs forward, and Bub.
I was going to spare him.
Yeah, no.
So does Bub get the experience?
Bub will get experience points. Yes.
It's now a level 2 horse.
Exactly. Yes. He will get +1 to his charisma. Yeah, no, I don't know. But yeah, so you see the other horses kind of follow awkwardly, but Bub just brutally stamples down Bugsy and tramples him down. So that happens. And then we move on to Kastan's turn.
How far away am I from that orb?
You are 35 feet from it.
Okay. I'm going to. I'm also going to face step. I'm so injured though, so I like look like I'm about to like hit the deck. I just like keel over and I just right through the floor and suddenly pop up right next to this orb. Or I guess 5 feet from it because it can only go 30 feet. And then I'm just going to start booking it toward this orb. I'm going to scoop it and then run another 30 feet just to the back of this temple. 40 feet. There you go. So I'll run a full 40 feet.
Movement.
So I'll get 35 feet past that orb.
Cool. So it's at the end of the room. So basically, as you go to pick it up, you notice it looks like a wooden mug. Like an ale mug. That's what that object is. It's just a mug. It's got a little bit of steel reinforcement along the edge and the bottom and the handle, but otherwise it's looks like finely polished wood. It looks like not a fancy mug, but just like a nicer than average mug. But it is just a mug. So you grab it, and then with the remaining movement, you could crash through that kind of back door that's kind of like not often used. It has a small lock on it, but it's a pretty feeble lock, so you could just kind of kick it down if you wanted and move outside of the temple, because that is at the back end of the temple. So
yeah, I'm gonna body this this door, and I'm just gonna shout over my shoulder as I'm running out. I'm like, let's go! And then I want to hold my action until everyone's out of the temple, until all of us are out of the temple.
Cool, yeah, because you face stepped and then you moved and you picked it up using your 40 feet of movement, which is enhanced by the plant that you took last session. So yeah, you still have an action. You can totally hold that for now. So
drugs are our friends.
Yay! Remember, kids.
What action are you gonna hold?
So I want to hold the casting of fog cloud. My idea is to cast it in the temple, and then shut the door, so that they think they're going to be able to run through and just like right into the door if they have to follow us.
I love it. Great. Well, then you are holding fog casting, and let's move on to Tide's turn now. Tide, you see Kestan run through the temple and out the back door, and you are standing just within the doors of the temple from your last turn. So you are...
And Eremos has this mage one kind of tackled.
Yeah. So he is grappled for mechanical purposes. Yeah.
Cool. I shout to Eremos, like, bring that one. And then I am going to look at that goblin, and I'm going to cast command on him.
Oh, nice.
It's a 14 wisdom save.
Perfect. 14.
What's the command word?
We'll see if he saves.
Yeah.
Okay.
He rolls a 16, actually.
Fuck. I look at him, I'm like, surrender. But it doesn't work.
Yes. He looks back at you with defiant, glowing green eyes and goes, no, like a Sildur, but with a much higher pitched goblin voice, I realize now. No. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
You'll never take your life, coppers!
I love it.
Knock him out if you have to. I was like, we're on a time crunch. So then I'll run back out, and I will get the horses ready for Verkus and Aramos, and I kind of like gather them together to try to like get them ready to start going towards the back of the church.
Perfect.
Good luck with Bub. He's wild.
He's got a newfound taste for blood.
I'll use my 40 feet of movement to like walk out of the church, and like I'll start grabbing like the reins and kind of start get everyone together to to go, and then I get on my horse.
Sweet. Can you roll an animal handling check? It's pretty much impossible to fail it, but if you succeed really well, I want to give you a little boost to coordination.
We will see. Wow, that was almost a 16, but I got a 5.
Well, with a 5, yeah, you're able to just do an average amount of wrangling of them. Bub seems a little bit startled at what he just did, but he nonetheless complies. So
Good job.
I'll
that's
kind
going to
of
be
like-
the campaign arc: is Bub becoming finding a taste for blood and becoming a super horse. No, I'm just kidding. That's
Primal.
take levels in fighter.
Yeah. Primal soul barbarian.
homebrew
Oh my
class
God.
for horse.
Yeah.
Sentient
Barbarian horse class.
I love it.
Path of the equestrian.
The Winnie of Despair.
The equestrian. I love that. So awesome. Okay, well that's a great turn tide. You're wrangling the horses, and you're able to start moving them kind of towards the rest of the party, towards the back of the temple. So moving on now, we have the 3 goblins within the temple. It's their turns. First is Goblin 3, the one who's prone. He's going to get up, and I'm going to make him do a strength save to get his scimitar out of the floor, because he wedged it in there pretty good. So I'm going to make him do a... I'm going to say it's a DC 12 athletics check. Let's see if he passes.
He gets another nat 1. He
He
somehow
rolled a
pushes it further
nat
in.
20. So here's what's going to happen.
Oh.
Here's what's going to happen. He's going to pull it out, and he's going to be like, I have to do this. And he's going to yank it out, and it's going to be too much, and it's going to fly across the room at Eremos. I'm going to roll a ranged attack now with a flying scimitar.
Let's see it.
No, it's a 9, so it doesn't hit.
I
So
just want right here. Just
yes. So it flies towards Eremos and lands in the temple podium like a foot from your face. You just look over, and the goblin is shocked. You're shocked. The goblin you're holding is like, what? And that's
you have
Goblin
a fade.
3's
You have a
turn.
fade now.
So that was almost really bad, but you're good. Goblin 4 is close to you. He is going to run over and try to wrestle you off the goblin that you're tackling. So, Eremos, can you make a strength save as this goblin tries to athletically pull you off of his master?
His master, eh?
Oof.
It's a 10.
He actually rolled a 10 also. So if it's tied,
Roll again.
yeah, let's roll again.
It's like, no.
Nat 20!
No.
On the goblin.
Oh my gosh.
The DM has to put that dice away.
Yes. We're
Dang.
putting it away. We're putting it away.
No nat 20 DM.
Here's its replacement. Yeah.
Ooh.
What'd you get,
All right.
Eremos?
9.
Okay,
Second one.
so this goblin runs towards you, and you're like, this dude's tiny, I'm fine. So
Yeah.
you keep holding down the magical goblin, and this little goblin gets like just the right angle and hits you in the side, and it like just kind of like it doesn't break when you're yeah, it just kind of hits you at an awkward angle where you're like, ugh, like it almost
It
tickles
tickles
more than
you.
it hurts, but it shocks you off him nonetheless. So it does. You do kind of like jump up and be like, ugh, like it's more weird than painful, but it still startles you off the goblin.
Unsafe touch. Unsafe touch.
Stranger danger.
So Eremos is now a couple feet away from this prone magical goblin and this very surprised Goblin 4 who's like, oh my god, I just tackled this big warrior off my master. What happened? So next up, the magical goblin is going to he can no longer cast spells because you notice the glow in his eyes is still there, but it's kind of dissipated. And he kind
I
of
have this cup.
Well, it's still his eyes are still glowing, but he reaches forward with his hand to grab at Eremos, and nothing happens, and he looks very surprised. And he's like, and then he pulls out a dagger and tries to stab you, and it's it is an 8, so it misses because again, it fits thematically. He's surprised. He kind of whips out a little dagger and kind of goes, and it doesn't do anything. So, that is his turn. Eremos, it's your turn next. What do you want to do?
No.
I want to try to subdue this goblin with non-lethal force.
Cool.
So I'll strike him with the Morning Star with the butt of it.
Perfect. So just roll a regular attack and it'll be non-lethal damage.
Okay. That's a 23 to hit for 7 damage.
Nice.
Nice.
So with that, you hit him, and you bonk him right on the head. And he goes, and he staggers back, and then he kind of, and he just falls down. So
Should have had a V8.
And then I catch him and start walking towards the back door.
nice. So he is unconscious, but there is still Goblin 4 who is next to him, and he looks at his master who's fallen down. He looks back at you and goes, in like his saddest attempt at a war cry. So
That's fine. If he takes an attack of opportunity, that's fine. I'm just gonna grab the master and start walking for the back door.
okay, he will take an attack of opportunity.
Yeah, that's fine.
He rolls a 6, so he misses. So yeah, you're able to pick up this goblin without even making a strength check, the magical one. And with 30 feet, you can get just outside the back door of the temple. So
Nice.
yes.
So we're just waiting for Veracus to get out of the temple, correct?
Veracus and Tide, you were in there too, right? Yeah.
No, Tide's out front with the horses, I thought.
Yeah,
Oh, you're right.
I think me and Veracruz are closer to the front. So
Yeah.
like we'll bring the horses
Around.
around.
Perfect. Yeah, we're gonna break out of combat now because the 2 goblins that are in the temple, there's one that doesn't have a sword anymore because he chucked it across the room by accident, and the other one, oh yeah, Castan, what do you want to do?
Well, so I would have just cast Fog Cloud if all of us are out of the temple, and then I'm going to close the door. And yeah, I'm going to run. I guess the back of the temple leads to the graveyard, right? So we're
It
going
does.
to
Yep.
just head right into the graveyard.
Yeah, and I'll close the front doors as I'm
Perfect.
leaving. Kind of look down at the trampled body of Muggsy the Bugsy and just, I could have done that. All right.
When Veracus comes off the steps, I have like 2 water like pouches like on my sides, and I'll like shape water and freeze some over the like the temple, like the entrance, just to give us a little bit more time to go. And then yeah, I get Veracus on his horse, and I have us
like they'll slip and fall down the steps.
Yeah, just to give us like a little bit more time. I just did a little sheet of ice on the steps of the temple.
Nice.
Really quick, the goblin I decapitated, I'm gonna grab the head.
Oh, okay, cool. You are able to do that.
Yeah.
So, you all get to your horses. Eremos has this unconscious goblin slung across his back. Castan, you have this mug in your hands. The goblin's unconscious. Veracus has a goblin head. Tide, you've got the horses. You all are in the graveyard, and you're mounting your horses, ready to make an escape. And suddenly you hear a crash of lightning nearby. It's a clear night, though.
Oh.
We're gonna take a break right there and take a bathroom break, but that's gonna be a little mini cliffhanger.
Cool.
Divorce and children.
Divorce and children. Excellent.
Divorced, no kids.
Divorce, children, and bub.
And Bob. Yes.
The true hero we don't deserve.
Yes.
Are we
I
gonna throw
want his nickname to eventually become Bloody Bub.
Oh God, bloody
Yes.
Bob.
I love it. Well, where we left off before our break, you all have successfully taken the mug, fled the temple, and now you suddenly hear, on this clear night, a crash of thunder. So everyone would look up towards the sound, and you would see at the top of the hill that there are these strange clouds forming and lightning and little flashes of it almost looks like starlight coming down and like weaving around, and there's just chaos happening at the top of the hill, and you can't see exactly what's happening, but that's Hergon's last location. And so it looks like
I'm assuming Hiragon's getting it, like taking care of business.
Yeah, it looks like you see that there's a little bit away from the craziness happening at the top of the hill are 13 really big muscular dark stallions. So it looks like the riders have gotten off those horses and are fighting Hergon. So that is what you all see, and almost like in a Jedi moment, you hear kind of an echo of Hergon's voice of "Run, head to the west, run." You kind of all hear that in your minds at the same time, but what do you all want to do?
And as I hear that, I turn to the group and I think, like, since we're in mortal danger and these additional foes have besieged this town, should we abandon the mission to completely liberate it from these goblins?
Yeah.
and just run.
I think-
Go ahead.
I think now that we have this cup, that the goblins won't want to stay in the town anymore. I don't think they'll be able to complete whatever it is that they were there for. And we can ask the goblin we have with us kind of what he thinks on that, because I think maybe he was the one heading this charge.
Mm-hmm. And I do tie him up, by the way.
Cool. I assume so.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean,
So maybe
Yeah,
we've
I
already
think-
liberated it in a way.
that
I
was
think for
my-
now we have to go, but we have this goblin to interrogate when we have a moment.
Yeah.
So is Westward heading back toward the camp of citizens from the town?
Yes, it would be. You could go through that forest where there's those three citizens you rescued, and they would have mentioned that a few more townspeople who survived kind of escaped heading north towards Havenhearth, because you guys are south of Havenhearth right now. And so, but directly west of you is that little forest that you guys were in. So you could kind of go back, kind of heading west through the forest, and stop by those three townspeople that you rescued, and kind of check in with them if you wanted. But yeah.
If they give them, if we're going in that direction, give them an update and have them flee for now, because
Yeah, we should
leader's
probably
gone.
tell them to get out of here for a little while and maybe come back in a couple days to check on their town.
Cool.
I'm fine
Yeah,
with
then-
that.
As you guys gallop through the forest, it obscures your view of the hilltop where Hurgon's fighting, but you still hear the occasional explosions or crashes of thunder. Like, this battle's still raging on.
I
But
definitely send my owl up to take a look to see what's going on. I don't know
nice.
how good I'll be able to look at it, because I can only be 100 feet away from the
Right.
owl to look at anything. But
now, quick question with your owl: is it like a physical animal companion, or is it a find familiar like?
it's a
magical
fine
owl?
familiar.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, as it goes up, you do it's hard to see through the chaos happening on the hilltop. But your owl would notice a giant vulture flying around and orbiting the battle as well.
Familiar for familiar.
Mhm.
Maybe
So
you want to
there's-
get your owl out of the sky.
Yeah, I think because I think once we get too far, it won't matter anyway. So without giving our position away, I'll just put it into its pocket plane. So it doesn't lead anybody towards us.
right before you do that, you see the vulture turn its little head towards it and start flying towards it, and then it goes away. So you're protected. Nice. So you guys ride through the forest. It's not a super dense forest, so you're able to navigate your steeds through there, moving at a pretty quick pace. You go near to the last position where you left those three townspeople. They're still kind of huddling in the shadows, and they look up at you and go, "Is the town clear? Have the goblins been vanquished?"
Just a point of reference, I've used druid craft to kind of have like a little dirt devil following behind us to clear away our tracks so we can't be followed that way.
Very smart. Love that. That's cool.
I'll help also.
I'll kind of look at the villagers and say, we didn't get rid of all of them, but we do have their leader. And I point towards the one that Eremos has. I said, and we have this very important artifact that they were very. Is that a cup?
It seems to be a wooden mug.
The villagers look at it and go, "Yeah, looks like a mug. What? Why is that relevant?" What?
It was glowing.
It was glowing?
Yeah. It seems to be important to this goblin that we have captured.
One
I'm
of
not
the older
entirely
villagers-
sure what it is.
He kind of steps forward, stroking his chin, and goes, "I feel like I've seen a mug like that before. Perhaps."
In a tavern.
No, actually, I think it was an old set crafted by, I think my great uncle made it as a gift to the temple of Dormond long ago. But he wasn't a very good woodsman worker, so we kind of have had those sitting in the basement since I was a child. I don't know. I mean, it looks vaguely familiar. It might be one of the ones, but
Great, thanks.
it
So
was
if you-
glowing. You say?
Nope, not at all.
If you notice the sound of crashing thunder, we have been warned to get far away from that. So
Doesn't get the fuck out.
we this goblin has been called Master. We don't know if the goblins will scatter soon. I don't think there's a reason for them to stay in your town. But I feel like you should get to safety now and then
To
come
Haven Hearth.
back and check on your town in a few
Yes.
days.
Yes, we will flee north. We thought those sounds of magical battle were you, but if it's something else, we'll leave. We'll make our way north immediately. We'll run through the night. So they just take off and leave. So
Good.
Cool.
So we head west.
Well, so before the villagers leave, I want to ask, I guess the older man, since he's probably more experienced with the area, sir, do you happen to know where Greenshire is?
Oh yes, Greenshire. That's on the edge of the large forest. It's west and somewhat south of here, but it's a long journey. It's almost near the Dunvar Pass. It's quite far. It's across the big river, and yeah, it's about a 3-week journey from here, but it's
Oh,
yes,
okay.
it's beyond the Mound of Malkarian and the Burrows Crater. It's yeah, it's along the big forest there. It's south of Borgenthak. I've never been to that city, but I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Would you?
The
Go ahead.
mound is somewhere that Hirgon was initially wanting to lead us, so we could stop there on the way to Greenshire for sure.
Is that on the way?
Yeah.
So, yes,
Oh,
it is.
okay.
The old man would overhear and go, "Yes, if there are multiple roads to Greenshire, but I think the one from here would probably take you near the Mound of Malkarian, but that place is said to be haunted, so I wouldn't get too close."
Lovely.
Yeah.
You said 3 weeks.
Yeah, approximately. I mean, if one were to ride hard and make haste, potentially a little shorter,
Well,
but roughly, yeah.
My question for you, and please don't push yourselves. However, would you have any spare rations that we could utilize to get there? Do you know anyone who may have some rations? Anything along those lines?
The old man shakes his head no, but then the younger guy who
I
mentioned he was a caravaner for a little while, he goes, we took no rations when we fled our town. We're going to make our way north to Havenhearth. We were actually going to ask you if you have some food for us to get to
Oh
Havenhearth.
shit!
But
I
there
give
are
them
small.
all of my rations.
let's all go back to Havenrock, turn in our quest, and resupply.
That's a good idea.
Well,
Well-
the caravaner also says there are small towns and villages all along the way between here and Greenshire. You shouldn't
What's
have
the-
any trouble.
Wait, what's the town between the town we're currently in and Havenhearth? I thought there was a second town.
There's not.
There isn't?
No.
Okay.
We're very
Not
close.
one that
We're
I've
like-
named, but
we're
there'd be
just like a
small
couple
little
days.
townships. Yeah.
So maybe, yeah, going to Havenhearth, turning this in, then doubling back. I like that idea, Aramos.
Because it's 3 weeks. I thought it was a lot closer than that. So that's-
Same.
No,
Same.
it's,
Yeah,
Green,
so let's
Greenshire is
definitely
pretty
stop
far.
again. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I
Well then,
think-
the 3 villagers look at you and go, "Well, wait. If you're going back to Havenhearth, can we ride with you?"
We will escort you,
course.
absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Hop
thank
on.
you.
Yeah, I hop off of my horse and let the old man onto my horse.
There's
He
there's
pats
3
you
of
on the
them,
shoulder and
right?
says, "Thank you, lad." Yeah, there's 3 of them.
I don't
Yeah.
share my horse.
I share-
The
I share
caravaner, and the third was a woman, right?
Yeah, she's like in her early 40s. She's been kind of quiet, but yeah, there was the young caravaner guy who got wounded that Eremos healed, and then there's the older gentleman. So
Yeah, I think the 2 of them can share Bub.
cool. All right. Well, then,
Also,
Mhm.
just a pitch for our party name: Bloody Bubs.
yes.
Oh my god.
Just a
Bloody
pitch,
Bub.
not there yet, but just a pitch.
Well, that has to happen now. I think. I don't know.
I'm personally here for it because it's named after Bub, and I am all for Bub.
It's gonna be like slowly over time, Bubs' hooves are gonna turn red with the blood of the people he's trampled on
Our
accident.
enemies.
Some arcane deadly glow about the hooves,
They do fire
Suddenly
damage
become
now
like
for some
a-
reason.
and necrotic and radiant. You know, just
Yeah.
for fun.
He'll become a bloodsteed, a whole new form of
Bloodsteed.
I want that to be a thing now. Like,
It's like a blood hunter and a knight combined. What is this?
yeah. Got some levels in Warlock.
And it's all fully on accident that this horse has just trampled people.
What do you think the prophecy was about? No, I'm just kidding.
He was a guide, Bub.
Yes. Bub is the true saint. You guys are just his fellowship.
These steeds are important.
Bob is
We
our
must protect them
Frodo.
at all costs.
Awesome. So you guys
yeah.
begin making your way north towards Havenhearth. With the steeds, you guys are able to make good time. You do lose any visibility on that hilltop. And as you travel through the clear night, after about an hour and a half of travel, suddenly you all just kind of feel like a drop in your stomach, like something bad has happened, but nothing outward has happened that might signal anything. But you all just kind of at the same moment feel like something's wrong, but nothing around you.
Kirgon died.
Yeah, as soon as we departed, I said a prayer for his safety.
But no, you all feel something ominous. So
Damn.
I'm going to consult a mage in Havenhearth to see if we cannot contact Kirgon once we arrive.
okay, perfect. So yeah, we mentioned in the last session, it took you about 2 days to make your way to Oakmoor. So traveling through the night, do you guys want to take a short rest the next morning, or do you want to travel through the night and then kind of make your way back with the villagers? How do you want?
How are the horses doing?
They're doing good. They're strong. They're fine. Yeah, you didn't ride them especially hard on the way down to Oakmoor, so.
I honestly think that it might be best to get them directly, like get there if we have these 13 riders.
Yeah,
on our ass.
I was thinking
as much
thing.
as possible. Yeah, I agree.
Just push hard till we get to Havenhearth. Like sleep
Short
as little
rest,
as possible. Shove the
short
horses as far as they can.
Yeah.
It doesn't require any crazy methods, but so you guys make haste. You travel through the night. The next day, the villagers seem kind of tired and weary from the whole ordeal, but they're on horseback, so it's fine. So as the sun is setting after that full day of travel, right after the sun sets, you come to where you can see Havenhearth. So you pretty much arrive at nightfall at the city. So
along the way, I was hoping to question the goblin we captured if he's conscious.
At one point he would have, right?
So I think our best bet would be to stop just before we get to Havenhearth. Like Havenhearth in sight, but still somewhere within like woods, trees, a forest line of some kind. Maybe rest there before we get to Havenhearth. Take our time to question this goblin, and then leave him tied to a tree or something.
No, we should turn him into.
I was gonna say, let's turn his ass in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the reward, yeah.
So once you guys you do find there's little patches of forest and woods all along this terrain. So you guys find one that's about an hour and a half outside of Havenhearth. The villagers, the 3 that you rescued that kind of rested while you all traveled hard, they go, "Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Like by all the gods, we are in your debt. You do what you need to with that foul goblin leader, and we're going to head to Havenhearth." They motion at the old man and go, he has relatives here in the city that'll take us in. So we will let the city guard know of your bravery in helping our town, and we hope to see you again sometime. But they leave to walk the last half hour or hour and a half, leaving you all in this little forest concealed with the goblin, who I imagine as you traveled, he got hit pretty hard in the head, but he would have come conscious, probably in the morning. And then you guys could have just bound and gagged him for the travel and waited till now to talk to him.
I have him strung up with like his feet on either side of my shoulders, so he's like upside down dangling. I have him tied there, and he's gagged.
I'm
for the journey. Yeah.
Cool.
As we tie him to a tree, I'm gonna snap the arrowhead off of one of my arrows and just put it in between my knuckles like this, and just like press it in between his ribs.
Ooh.
And just say,
"Savage.
Now tell me, why attack a small, defenseless village for a cup?
Could
He
I
looks-
try commanding him again to like force the truth out of him?
Yeah,
Like, would it be able to make
yeah.
that a disadvantage with any like with this kind of going?
Intimidation checks. Yeah, we can help.
Actually, well, first I want Verkus to roll an intimidation at advantage.
Yeah.
And then
I
based
also
on
give him
that,
a guidance.
nice. And then that'll determine how low the DC is on your command. It'll impact his ability to withstand it. So
Dirty
I'm
20.
standing at a distance with the cup to make sure he's not near it.
Did you roll an extra D4 with guidance?
I did not.
And
Yeah,
while
it's
they're
just
doing
like-
this,
24.
Oh,
24
Nice.
intimidate. Ooh.
and while they're doing this, I want to inspect the cup with whatever ability I can.
yeah,
Yeah, you're a preparation caster. You can prepare detect magic, I think.
We haven't rested at all.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
I would have to wait until a long rest to do that.
so as Verkus, threatens the goblin with the arrowhead between his knuckles, the goblin trembles, clearly afraid. The green glow is gone from his eyes now. They're normal looking for a goblin. So Tide, I want you to, if you cast command, he's going to auto fail based on how badly he's intimidated by Verkus. And while we play that out, Castan, I'd like you to roll an Arcana or an Investigation check. Arcana will have a lower DC than the Investigation, but both could yield results about the cup. So Tide, what's the command word that you cast on this goblin?
I kind of like, as I speak to as Verkus is kind of like trying to intimidate him, I was like, be sure to speak the truth, and then I'll put the emphasis on truth.
Cool. He kind of shudders and goes, I am very afraid that you will kill me. Ask what you will.
I asked,
Mm-hmm.
why attack a defenseless village for a cup?
It was not about the cup. It was about what we could do with the cup.
You can drink with a cup.
Yes, you can drink with many things.
What would you do with this cup?
We would use it as a conduit to
For
open a
what?
portal.
Oh,
A portal to what?
To Hogwarts, it's a port key.
Get out! Get out!
The Dark Lord will return. No, I'm just kidding.
Cast death mark into the sky.
And kill. No.
So Voldemort's our BBEG.
Oh god, no.
We knew it. Plot twist.
So the goblin goes, they never told me what the portal was for. They simply told me how I might be rewarded if I were to open it.
Who's they?
yeah. Who's they?
The riders. The wretched riders.
Who are the wretched riders?
They're beings of great power, heralding in a new age that will overtake Jir'Haniya. I know a winning force when I see one. And so I latched my fortunes onto theirs.
Well, apparently, that winning force has you rightly fucked.
They will come find me. They will find you. Their darkness will cover everything, drown out the stars and the sunlight, bathe the world anew in a new age of darkness and power.
Let
Dominion
them-
for all who have been shunned for the ages.
Oh, shut up! And I take out my sword and I bonk him on the head.
He goes, well, I roll an attack. Let's see whether you knock him unconscious or just piss him off.
Can I make him? Can I have him not do that? Can I like prestidigitation a horrible smell in his face to make sure he misses? Like
Grilled cheese. It's a grilled cheese sandwich from the
It's
Gilded
a
Cup.
delicious grilled cheese sandwich from that party he had.
Yes.
I'm like, we don't want him dead yet. Like,
for some reason.
Oh no, I'm not gonna kill him.
So
no, I
Vegas,
know. It's like, wait.
your non-lethal attack is now a disadvantage.
Okay,
Thanks to
that's fair.
tides.
That's
The
fair.
tides grilled
He's giving
cheese
it
magic.
advantage because he's tied to the tree. He's not moving.
Fair. Okay, so let's just roll a regular attack and see where it
Okay,
goes.
okay. Oh no, that's a 12.
So he kind of shimmies out of the way and like you bonk him, but not enough to like really do anything significant.
Okay.
He's still awake and he goes, "You will all die in darkness, for the age of those who have been oppressed will rule a new."
I promise
just
that you
wanted
will have
silence.
your time to your time with this thing. This swing at it with your sword as you will later.
Okay.
Like this guy kind of goes like this cup. Was it about the location or the item?
I don't know. They told me to find something that called to me within the temple. I simply followed orders. The cup called to me. They trained me in some basic magic, and I cast a spell upon it, and we began the ritual, and you interrupted it.
What was this? Was the ritual to open the portal?
Open a portal. Yes.
A portal.
And that is everything you know.
Yes.
Circus, you can have him. I
I
just
gag
kind of
him.
like
I gag him.
I look at him and I say, "Were there other goblin tribes?"
Oh, okay. I ungag him.
He spits in your general direction and goes, "Of course there are other goblin tribes. What sort of question is that?"
That were brought in with the wretched riders.
I don't know who the wretched riders have brought under their umbrella of darkness and power. I'm sure there are others. My tribe gathered the allegiance of some members of other tribes around me. That is the extent that I know of in our region.
Will your tribe leave the village now that you're not there?
Probably. I do not know.
That's also good to know.
The wretched riders gave me means to control the others. It was exhilarating.
Why was this cup so important to you? How did it call to
He
you?
looks at Kastan and says, "You wonder why it called to me, don't you?"
I'm a little further away. I'm
Okay.
part of it.
I saw the chat. I was like, hang on.
As a player, I want to ask so many
Okay.
questions, but as Kastan, I'm standing like 30 or so feet away. I can sort of overhear this conversation, but I'm like fully intent on this cup.
My Eladrin
I'm like-
cousin telepathy.
So yeah, so as I was exiting the conversation, I would walk over to Kastan to help him out with the cup.
Nice.
No way.
Well, you guys are doing the Arcana or investigation on the cup. To answer, the last question was, how did the cup call to you? What was the question?
Why did it call to him?
The goblin shakes his head and goes, "I don't know. It must be magical in some way. Or maybe by using it, we made it magic? I don't know. All I know is you interrupted us and it was giving me more power than I've ever had in my life, and I would use it to destroy you all.
Alright, during this monologue, I'm just going ba-ba-da-da-da.
And then I gag him.
Unconscious. Yeah. He is now unconscious. You can revive him if you want to ask more questions, but he is unconscious.
Nah, he's
I don't need any more monologues. I do the monologues here.
So, Kastan, with Tide's help, what was your total roll on examining the bug?
So I rolled earlier. I got a total of a 14, but that wasn't with Tide's help. That was just me rolling.
Cool. Yeah, roll again for advantage, and let's see if we can get something higher than a 14.
And I also give you guidance.
Oh yeah, so 14 plus a D4 or a D20 plus a D4.
That new total is going to be a dirty 20.
Nice.
Okay.
So with the dirty 20, you're able to examine the cup and realize that some magic has been placed on this cup. It was a regular cup. It was used as part of a ritual, and there is some kind of residual magic on there. And it looks like this cup, it can be used as a spell focus by anyone casting magic. And then it also seems like it has some sort of ability to produce something based on your thoughts. And with a dirty 20, you're guessing that if you try focusing on the cup and thinking about a certain, like a substance or a food or something, it might appear in the cup.
Huh.
As much as I would love to keep this cup, Kastan wouldn't really want something that's kind of like embellished with like metal and so on and so forth. So he's going to hand it to Tide. I think you might actually appreciate this a bit more than I can.
Yeah, I kind of just like get it into my hand. Do you need to be attuned to it for the thing to work?
No.
I think it like without me even really trying, I think it instantly fills with ale.
It immediately fills with ale.
I'm like,
yeah.
oh,
You tried the ale?
yeah.
It's good. It's very good.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so with Tide, like just the sorcerer play that I'm going, like just it's almost like magic is always kind of coming off of him, which is why there's always the residual magic, the like extra cantrips, the like extra like I don't know, that's kind of what I'm kind of going for with the like just magic's coming off of him, the guidance instead of it being like a radiant like divinative kind of thing, it's just like if I put it on someone else, like it's like, oh, like you have a little boost in whatever you're trying to do, just a little magical support.
No, it feels almost like instinctive or impulsive almost, you know?
So I just like this cup like just touches my hand and I'm just like, and then just ale comes like, oh,
Yeah.
this will be very useful.
And it's good ale, yeah. So
Excellent. So okay. So it's just kind of like hold on, just like we might want to have this further identified if we can in town. Just to see what we can learn.
I already have plans to consult a mage to try to contact Jir'Haniya, so we could ask them to identify that as well.
Yeah,
I think that might be a better idea. Yeah.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
shall we head for Havenhearth? I know an honorable guard there called Roderick. I know his patrol route. I know where we can meet him and turn this goblin in.
Yeah, I think that would be great. We can meet up with Roderick and then find a safe place to stay for the night so we can start fresh in the morning. Maybe we can find transport to Greenshire or to a place closer to Greenshire, perhaps.
Or the mound of what's it called? Mound of
Molkarian.
Mound of Molkarian.
And we've been traveling down this. I'm assuming we definitely know that the river is there. So
yes,
maybe we can get water transport to get us
to the mound of Molkarian.
Well, no, because the river runs from the mountains and it runs east, and it kind of ends at Havenhearth and hits the sea. So water travel, unfortunately. I mean, well,
on the way down, like could we get past the mountains and then travel down to? Oh, I'm sorry. Could we take it down to the mound?
No, because it still is heading towards the ocean. So
it flows in that direction.
Flows from left to right. Yeah.
Now the option you do have when it comes to sea travel is you could charter passage from the docks of Havenhearth and kind of go south and then west, and then you'd have to cut up inland to get to the Mound of Molkarian. But you could also go to near the area called the Runewood Marshes, and that would put you within 6 days of Greenshire if you headed west from there. So you do have some options with sea travel, but
Now we know we need to go to Greenshire. We could probably go down that way.
Coastal journey, that would be cool.
Essentially, you have a couple. I mean, you can take Havenhearth, take a road that would take you 3 weeks to Greenshire, and that's going to be. It would take you near the Mound of Molkarian, and then it would take you kind of near the Burrows Crater, and then have you cross the river and get to Greenshire. That's about 3 weeks. You could also take your own path and follow the river on foot or on horseback. That would be like an extra day or two longer, but you'd avoid major roads if that's something you want to do. Or you can also, there is a tiny little port town that's a couple days away from the Mound of Molkarian. You could charter a ship there, or charter a ship to the Runewood Marshes and then cut west into Greenshire from there.
Yeah. I don't necessarily know if we need to go to the Mound of Molkarian, only because that seemed to be where Jir'Haniya wanted us to go initially. But when we detoured to Oakmoor, we got into this mess, and then he wrote us down what the Hold on, he wrote us down what the prophecy is. Do we want to take a look at that?
Yeah.
Remembering that we have this suddenly.
Yeah, well, no, he said he wrote down the prophecy, and that to find it, you need to go to Greenshire and ask for Almorand, and that will help you find where he's put this transcription of the prophecy.
So
and the only reason we were going to the mound was to meet up with someone.
He actually
else?
didn't specify. He said, we're going to the Mount of
Yeah.
Mulgarian for something important. He didn't specify more than that.
Yeah, I think it was like to get stuff, probably.
Or he did mention potentially gathering something.
So that could definitely still be useful.
Yeah,
Stuff is good.
Yeah.
I say we stop there for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because,
Yeah,
I mean,
then I think our first stop should be the Mount of Mulgarian, and then
Mhm.
once we're there, we can head a couple days to the port city, charter a ship from there to the marshes to get a couple days from Greenshire.
That
Yeah.
actually would be the most efficient route. Yeah, totally. So,
Yeah.
because on horseback going from Havenhouse to the Mount of Mulgarian would take you like 5 days. So,
Sounds good.
okay.
Yeah.
But
And
for now,
for-
let's find Roderick, turn in this goblin, and take a rest. I'm exhausted from that ride.
Yeah. And honestly,
Agreed.
place to stay, I have it. Laughing
Yeah.
Dragon Tavern.
There you go. Cool. Well, yeah, you all are able to enter the city. The city guards do kind of question you all when they see that you have a bound, gagged goblin with you. And then Verkus has a goblin head with him as well.
I show him the quest flyer.
Okay, they go, yes, you should come speak to one of the commanders to get your reward. And the city guard looks at the goblin that you have prisoner and says, may we take him into custody?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Great. So you guys are escorted by city guards into Havenhearth. You go to a big like city guard garrison building. It's on the northwest side of town. Eremos, you've been here plenty, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm also visibly uncomfortable, and I do not go to meet the captain of the guard.
Okay.
So I'll maybe divert and go home for a bit.
Yeah. I'm gonna stop the guards who were taking that goblin into custody and just say, careful, this one likes to monologue.
Oh no. One of the guards looks at the other and says, make sure that gag stays in place, soldier.
Can I do a slight insight on Aramos to see like why he's uncomfortable? Maybe like I don't necessarily like I'm gonna do anything about it. It's kind of like I see like he kind of like fidgets. I just want to see like if I can get anything off of that.
Yeah, Eremos, I'll let you set that DC based on your wisdom or charisma, whichever you choose.
I got a
Yes.
15 insight.
I got an 18.
Okay.
Charisma.
So I just kind of be like, oh, like as you're kind of like uncomfortable. I just kind of want to like just kind of look over to see like if it's like is it the guards, is it the city, is it like.
You can tell that he's very nervous in the proximity of guards, more so the higher ranking that they get. He's more leery. Like just like entry level guards, he's kind of uneasy, but as soon as it's like a captain, commander, general, whatever, he's out.
Right. Okay. So I just kind of I don't say anything to anybody about it. I just kind of like keep it to myself.
And as I depart from the group, I say, I will meet you guys at the Laughing Dragon later tonight.
We've stabled our horses somewhere, I'm assuming. Bub is safe.
Yeah, actually, you would go back to the stable that you got the horses from, and you all understood that Hirgon rented them for you, but when you go back to the stable to stable them for the night, the stable master looks at you and goes, "Oh, I'm glad to see the horses are well. How have you taken to your new steeds?"
Bub is amazing.
He is a good boy, isn't he?
I would say a great boy.
Well, it's nice that your friend purchased these horses for you. I mean, they're,
Purchase.
I'm not the most expensive stable in the city, but I charge pretty hard prices. So it was very nice of your friend to buy them for you. How is he?
Or not.
To be determined.
He may meet with us later. We got here first.
Oh, well, I hope he's all right. He was very kind to deal with, and he left me. He paid full price for the saddles and the equipment, and most people try to bargain for a cheaper price. So I thought that was very kind of him.
Did he say anything about he just came in and purchased the horses?
He said he needed 5 horses for travel, and he was willing to pay full price. No qualms about that.
Well, if you wouldn't
Sounds like
mind
him.
stabling them while we're in town, we'd greatly appreciate it.
Oh yes, for his kindness and everything. I'm glad to see the horses are serving you well. I can keep them here for up to 3 nights for free. I have some openings right now. After those 3 nights, we have there's a small festival for the Iron Gods happening in town. So the stable will be more busy. So I'd have to charge you my normal stable fee after that. But the first 3 days would be free.
Understandable. Thank you so much.
Of course. So yes, with your horses stabled safely on the edge of town, or just outside the city walls with a big stable, they're good to go. So, yeah, in the city, I mean, you guys go meet with the captain of the guard. It's a pretty gruff dwarf woman who seems like she's more busy than she appears to be. But she goes, "Well, you brought us a goblin prisoner, and you brought us the head of another goblin, and we spoke to some townspeople from Oakmoor earlier, and they made it seem like you did some good in the city. So we're still going to have to send a guard expedition there to verify that the goblins have left Oakmoor, but seems like you did all the heavy lifting. So
Tell them to be careful.
Aye, we will. Our guards are always careful. But we can give you a portion of the reward money since you did a lot of work there. How's about 100 gold each sound?
After the verification, can we come back for the rest?
It depends on how the verification goes. Potentially.
The goblin prisoner did say that they would most likely disperse now. This one seems to be the leader, and he said that the goblins are most likely to disperse. So if we had to get out of there quickly, there was a rough storm that pushed us out of town.
Well, I have a cousin that says that grass seems like tiny little towers, so seems like ain't something that I put my stock in, but we'll see how it goes.
125 without verification, and we'll leave it as is.
So
fine, 125, no more.
Dang.
I appreciate everything that you do for the city.
As you should. As you should. Yes, Verkus?
Hmm?
Were you going to say something, Verkus?
No, I'm just... He's kind of grumbling in the back, just... Said 250. Yeah.
As it stands currently, you each get 125 gold.
That's great.
And
Is this what they call money?
The dwarf captain just looks at Kastan and goes,
Can you give him his first gold pouch?
Well, the dwarf captain hears your thing about, is this money? And goes, you all fought goblins with this one?
You do not need to know about money to know about combat.
We would not have survived without my cousin.
Well, that's good.
So
now
I
have a city to guard. Please go.
Please get the fuck out.
Yeah.
I just leave holding all of my money.
I'm just gonna be like, okay, here's a pouch. You put it in.
We show you where to safely tie a pouch full of gold.
You know where you pull stuff from? Right here. Just
Okay, all right. So I put it in her pouch, and I'm like, Olive, hold on to this.
Nice.
See, now I want art of Olive just holding this pouch
of gold.
Yeah.
Yes.
A pouch of gold as big as Olive.
Yes.
Yes. I love it.
It's her hoard.
Yeah. She's a dragon.
The tiniest, softest dragon ever. All right. So, Verkus, describe for us what the Laughing Dragon Tavern looks like.
Absolutely. So, the Laughing Dragon Tavern is a very cozy abode. It's not the largest tavern vertically. It's 2 stories tall, can house a few individuals overnight. It has about 6 to 7 rooms. Where the true magic is in the main hall, where there is an enormous fireplace and the skull of a dragon that looks like it is smiling and looks jovial. There is always the smell of freshly baked goods, as well as different meals and foods being prepared throughout the time. And what is constant throughout the halls of this beautiful mahogany wood and almost seems like velvet on the upholstery. Typically, these very deep reds. It almost seems like there's always a consistent laughter going on around. Even when there's only a few patrons there, it always seems like anyone who is there is almost always happy and truly jovial. And then there's definitely a few paintings of Verkus posing bravely.
I love that.
Where he's kind of just, there's one of him standing over a mound of a few dead orcs with an arrow sticking out of his right thigh. There's one of him pulling out the tooth of a slain dragon. And there's a missing tooth in the skull of the dragon that's laughing, and that is the tooth that is bound to his leather armor.
Nice.
And in all of the napkins and all of the woodwork, you can see self-written stories and monologues of his victories.
That's fantastic.
And he is currently, as he would have gone directly back to his tavern, is surrounded by a few patrons, and with one mighty strike, I removed the head of that goblin.
Whoa, that's
Being
amazing, Verkus.
The 17th goblin that I slayed that night.
17.
I was unstoppable, nigh unstoppable, and I could not have done it without my dear cousin.
I'm weeping. Like, I did not ever think that you would ever refer to
Tide.
me in this, and so I'm in the crowd. I'm like, it's true. It's all true. He did it. It's true.
But and as he's doing this, he's also there. It's almost kind of like an hibachi style at at one of the pieces of the bar where he is currently cooking. Him putting together this beautiful meal. It's a honey bourbon salmon over asparagus and tarragon mashed potatoes.
Oh, this is delicious.
That was the meal I made for my girlfriend for our anniversary.
Nice.
As we are putting it, he's just putting it together, just getting it all together, and just that specificity of how he plates it and then hands it over to everyone while he's telling the story.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
The patrons all pat you on the shoulder and are like, "You're a fine warrior, Verkus." And then one guy who's like super nice but also kind of annoying, we'll name him Duros. He looks up at you and goes, "You brought us some Oakmoor wine, didn't you? If you were there."
You know, I'm not going to ask those who are besieged by goblins to give away their hard-earned goods. That's not the right thing to do.
Well, he
No.
liberated their town and slew like 24 goblins. I mean, that's the least they could have given you is a bottle of that
You
fancy
dare
Oakmoor
question
wine.
my cousin's motives?
The patron is visibly startled and goes, "You're right. I'm sorry. My apologies, Verkus." And he tips you some extra gold and kind of scurries away to
good.
finish his meal, blushing intently. So
How much gold did he tip me?
he would have tipped you 3 gold. And at this table of like half a dozen people that are eating your food, including his 3, you would have made like 21 gold total in tips.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'll give 15 to my staff.
Cool.
And I'll hand 1 gold to each of my party members
Nice.
and pocket the other 3.
Perfect. Your staff all thanks to you and they go, "Good to have you back, Verkus."
Down with the gilded cup.
Everyone in the bar cheers and goes, "Down with the gilded
Ah!
mark." Yeah. So it's a lot lively night. You all are enjoying the tavern. The food is amazing. Because the food is so delicious from Verkus, for the next 24 hours, all of you who partake get +1 D4 to any charisma or constitution-based checks.
Ooh, nice.
And I do have proficiency with chef utensils.
Excellent. Yes,
Sweet.
that factors in. So, yeah, it's a lovely night. Is there anything you all do specifically besides eat, drink, rest, relax?
I asked the party about the reward. I say, hey, so where's the 250 gold that I was promised?
I sadly put 125 in front of him.
They weren't
look at-
able
I look at
to
it quizzically.
verify that the town was cleared. She wanted to give us 100, but I said uncleared, leave it as is, 125.
Sounds like her, I say, shaking my head in disgust.
But in good news, I now have money. Is there anyone performing currently? Is there anyone on stage? Is there anything happening, entertainment wise?
Verkus, as the manager and owner of the Laughing Tavern, what kind of entertainment would you hire for your patrons?
Typically, there'd be a bard who is plucking away at a lute or a lyre. Nothing overbearing.
Just complimentary to the
exactly.
Yeah.
Every Saturday is comedians night. Like there's we want to have that laughter going.
Good. Tonight is not a Saturday in game.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you will have music. You would have actually a younger looking Harangon man sitting and playing a lute and kind of bouncing around on the stage as he sings you an energetic song, but nothing that distracts from the aura there. Kestan, being that you suddenly have all this money and have mentioned multiple times that you have money for the first time, one of the bar maidens who's kind of newer there, who's a little bit of a troublemaker, her name is Riza. She's kind of being overly flirtatious with Kestan and like giving him more attention than everyone else. And yeah, you could tell she's, even with passive insight, she's gunning for a big tip. she could tell that she's yeah, she's got little gold signs in her eyes. So
I'm not gonna say a damn thing.
I mean, is she outright asking for money or?
No, she's just being like overly doting on you and just being a little bit almost obnoxious with how much she's giving you more attention than the other people in the party.
Kestan thinks it is phenomenal. Like, my, what service you have here, cousin. These people know exactly what they're doing. I
Only
can't
the
believe
best.
how absolutely the best. You should definitely give her a raise. Not knowing how money works, I've heard this phrase being bandied about.
At that, I'm just gonna lean over to Kestan and just. This is when you tip her. Give her little coinage.
Little coinage.
Just
Okay.
a little. Maybe one piece. One piece.
Only one.
It's a gold. It's a lot of money.
Oh, okay. All right. Hold on. I will check with Olive. Olive. Can I have just one? Okay, thank you. And I pull out 2 and I hand it directly to her.
And I just give him a thumbs up. Just
Riza just like rubs your shoulder and goes, "Oh, you are the best, Kestan, most noble of the Eladrin. I am so glad you have graced our illustrious establishment." She hugs you and she goes, "If you need
I
anything,"
give her another one.
she goes, "Oh my God, thank you so much." Like, oh, she goes, "I love you, Kestan. You are my favorite patron of all time."
Riza.
I'm so glad I
Riza.
could be here for you, Riza. Everything you've done for me tonight is amazing. And I give her another one.
At this point, I just. All right, Riza. I do feel that there are some other patrons missing that charming smile of yours.
Like, oh no, I wouldn't dare deprive Kestan here of my wonderful smile. And she kind of hugs him and goes, "He's my new best friend."
I give her a look. And just there are other patrons that
Fine,
need your
Vargas.
assistance.
Fine. And she goes off to help the other patrons with a sigh.
Uh-huh.
I pulled out several more coins. I'm like, oh, okay. Later.
She'll be fine. I think you just upgraded her abode.
Marcus,
Well, I'm glad
I
I could
think that
help.
we should switch out some of this gold for silvers and coppers.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Barracus would be able to make change for all of you with his establishments
Yeah.
easily. So
I'm like, as we're like eating and drinking, I have like a sketchbook out, my painter supplies.
nice.
And I'm drawing like Verkus holding up a beheaded goblin.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like
Just
on
like-
a horse.
Just on a horse.
With a goblin leader like gagged in the back, like just like this epic
Yes.
scene of it. Like I'm just kind of like sketching it out as we're going.
Yes.
I love it.
That is going. At this point, though, I have my calligrapher's supplies, and am kind of mapping where we have currently been,
Nice.
and putting all that together.
Excellent.
I turn to Verkus and say, "So you manage this establishment? You own this establishment? That's quite impressive."
You know, it took quite a bit of time. I've always wanted to give back to my friends, my people, and after that harrying day with the orcs, I realized that in this time of strife, we need a little laughter, a little joy. And I brought up my savings, was resoundingly kicked out of the Gilded Cup, fuck them, and opened up this establishment. It still could use some work. I would be the first to say it is gaudy, but I have high hopes, truly high hopes. I do not wish to take what is earned here. Most of what is earned goes to my staff and to those without any form of income. I make my money adventuring. I may own this establishment, but I am not the true manager. When I am not around, I have people for that.
Who manages when you're not here? Is it Riza?
Oh, God, no. She is brand new. No.
She's very nice. You should try her as a manager one day.
She is fresh off the boat, so to speak.
I look at you admirably. I look at you with admiration in my eyes as you say all that, and I say that's very noble. And
He smiles. Just I try. And no, one day, perhaps the Laughing Dragon Tavern will be the beginning of another brave group of adventurer stories. But until then, let's write our stories.
I picture you all toasting with whatever beverages you have in front of you.
It is not the best drink. It is pretty low grade. It's like almost like box wine and pretty decent ale, but it's not the best. You definitely go to the Gilded Cup to get schlitzed, and then you come to the Laughing Dragon to eat the night away.
I fill my new mug with ale from that other, what was the other place
The
called?
Gilded
Gilded
Mug.
Cup.
Gilded Mug.
But we were there drinking.
I'll
I
tell
filled
them
it with
all.
alcohol from there.
With your
I
magic
take a
cup.
sip.
But
I take a
A
sip
toast.
from this ale that is here at the Laughing Dragon, and I'm just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
cousin, this is great. I couldn't imagine enjoying this any more than what I currently am."
And this is
Wow.
when Veracus has a glass of water and just, yep.
It's okay.
Um,
It's fine. And then I look at the drinks and I'll use prestidigitation to flavor them better. I put a little lemon in,
Oh, good.
in it.
That's all it needed. You're right.
But I don't. But I still drink from my magic mug.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can toast from there.
Aramos is just drinking water, and he's saying, "I will not eat or partake of anything but water until I know the fate of our friend Hirgon." He looks crestfallen.
It tastes like alcohol. His water.
I got out and get some new water.
It tastes like.
Keeps happening.
It just keeps happening. You don't know why.
Real quick, while you guys are doing that, can Eremos and Veracus make perception checks?
Perception checks?
Yes, please.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
6.
Ooh.
So Eremos is thinking about Hirgon and doesn't notice anything.
He's too busy dumping out water.
Yes, constantly being like, "Why does this keep happening?"
I told the barmaid I wanted water.
25.
Maybe that rise is not as great as I thought.
So Veracus, you immediately notice, just as you're keeping an eye on your establishment as you typically do. Patrons are coming and going. It's a fairly lively night, and but you notice two people walk in who you recognize. There's a tall, lanky human, along with a half-orc woman who's real strong-looking. And you would know these two as Doran is the human, and Gazrara is the half-orc woman. And you've had run-ins with these two before. They come in not too often, but when they do, they tend to get pretty belligerent, and they have a couple times gotten in bar fights or caused a little bit of property damage. So they're not the best. And Gazrara is she works at the docks and sometimes does a little bit of like security work in town. She's known as a hothead fighter. And Doran is known to be kind of just a low-level petty criminal, not well regarded. So you notice these two walk in and go sit at a table, and Ryza goes and gets some drinks. So you just notice that.
Okay. Sounds good.
I just wanted to throw that as if you wanted to interact with them at all, but you don't have to. It's nothing super critical. So.
No.
And if you point them out to Eremos would have heard, especially about Doran, as being kind of a low-level criminal. As you've heard of Doran. You're like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'll say, excuse me, my friends. I have a few regulars I'd like to greet. I'm gonna stand and walk over to Doran and Gazrara.
As I see him walking towards the known criminal, I like walk behind him, just like 5 paces behind.
Cool.
I give him a little guidance tap on the back just in case as he heads over that way.
Nice.
And also my familiar is now a cat that's kind of like on the rafters of the establishment, kind of just.
Nice. So yeah, Doran's just sitting there like flipping a coin through his fingers as he drinks, and he looks over. He doesn't recognize Eremos, but he goes, "Ah, Veracus! Good day, my friend. I love the food at your establishment. Always a great day when I get to come here."
Are we planning to pay today?
Of course. When have I never not paid you? There have been multiple instances where he's not paid you.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. I just give him a knowing look.
He kind of looks at you and he goes, "Hey, listen. I had some windfalls in business lately, and I'm able to pay and even tip your. Oh, I like this new girl you have here. What's her name? Ryza? Yeah, I'll be able to not only pay, but also tip like a gentleman tonight."
Are we going to act like a gentleman?
Well, when have I ever been known to do that? He kind of goes,
Hands to yourself.
that's a
Gazra.
pretty. Gazrara kind of grunts at you and just goes,
And I look at her. Just let's keep damages to a minimum.
tell that to everyone else, she says, kind of standoffishly.
Say only the ones who need to hear it.
She goes, what's that supposed to mean? She's not very smart.
Means you break bad.
What? I am good at breaking things. I break good.
I just
So sorry.
I'm gonna tap her. I'm just gonna place a hand on her shoulder, very gently, and say, "For my regulars, drinks are on the house,
Doran goes, excellent.
with a purchase of 2 full meals." And I'm just gonna walk away.
How much do the meals cost at your establishment, Verkus?
Depends on the meal. Most of the meals, if you're looking for basic, like bacon and eggs, anything along those lines, it runs about, I'd say, 8 silver for a meal.
Okay.
But for true regulars, people he knows and actually admires or looks up to or cares for, usually it's 2 silver, even for his better dishes. The Doran and Gazrara discount puts it at about 2 gold
Okay.
for the baseline meal, and if they want something delicious, it's about 5 gold.
Doran's actually going to hand you 9 gold
Hmm?
and say, Verkus, I've always spoken to the illustrious nature of the nourishment that your establishment provides. And him using all these big words is definitely making you nervous. Like, what is happening? And Doran goes, you are a fine adventurer and a valiant warrior. And big guy standing behind you looks like he can be good in a fight. He points at Aramos and he says, as I said before, I've recently been bequeathed with good fortune and have been able to acquire a fairly large plethora of resources. And I would be more than amenable to splitting some of those resources with you for some gracious assistance.
Kastan has sidled up behind these two and is just staring at his cousin, kind of like, say the word.
I glance at Doran. Can I do an insight check?
You absolutely can.
It's me no trusty.
It's gonna be
fantasy casting for Doran is Walton Goggins from Justified.
Would I still have the guidance at this point?
You would.
Okay. 22.
So you can tell Doran is trying to look smart for you, and he is also he thinks he's being manipulative by using big words and flattery, but you see through it. He's definitely trying to get you to help him with something where he needs help, and that it seems like it's probably going to be something disadvantageous to you, like probably either dangerous or just not good. So
when I feel the guidance being used, my cat starts making his way down to Verkus. Not gonna, so it might take like a few seconds to get there, but eventually he will kind of like go between his legs and like do like that cat thing where they kind of just like push up again, and then I'll put guidance on him again because I can cast touch spells through.
Nice. The best way to cast spells is through cats, obviously.
Absolutely.
Obviously. So like if like if there's like an immediate check, it probably wouldn't be there. Like it's not going to be like it's not just going to jump down from the rafters in front of Verkus. Like it'll do a very cat thing where it kind of like goes to the end, jumps down. Like
I'll just look at Doran. Now, Doran, we both know the type of work that you get into and how we are not cut from the same cloth.
Well, now, Verkus, I take some offense to that. We're both men of success. I think we're cut from the exact same finely embroidered, gold-encrusted cloth.
I
This
have my
guy,
hands on
too.
my quarter
This guy
staff,
with
and I'm
his
just
nice
like,
chainmail.
I look at him and I say, "You're adding far too many adjectives to every word you say."
Well, now, my friend, you have me at a loss, for I am not familiar with this word adjective.
It's an enhancer to another word.
I am a man who enhances a great many things.
Oh my gosh. Ugh, you're such a fucking Chad. I just shake my head and I said, "All right. Translate this. I'm disinclined to acquiesce to your proposal."
Well,
And
my
I
friend, you may not know this, but I actually do not speak Dwarvish, so you'll have to rephrase that, please.
means no.
I turn and walk away.
But there's
And I
much
say-
gold to be had, friends. Don't walk away from a wondrous, illustrious opportunity such as this.
I'm sure that this wondrous, illustrious opportunity is also criminal.
Well,
Yeah,
what makes an
exactly
act
what I thought.
criminal? Let us be specific in that regard.
Tell me about this. You know what? I kind of get this smile and I look at Gazrara and I say, "Mind if I sit?"
Because we're kind of like, and just like moves over to another stool, bringing her drink with her.
Okay, I take a seat and I look at Doran and I say, "Do tell."
Well, it's really just a simple errand, my friend. I am busy with some endeavors on the north part of town. And you would know that the north part of town is like just the worst part of Havenhearth. And he goes, I've managed to secure a pier at one of the docks, and my boat is coming back from a supply journey across the sea, and I'd like you to welcome my crew and bring them to the tavern that I operate out of, and just ensure that they make it from the docks to the tavern without any problems.
Okay. I think I can see about that being taken care of.
Ah, wonderful. I knew you were the man I could count on, Verkus, for good food and good business.
I kind of smile and I say, "Well, I'm going to return to my friends. Don't cause any trouble
When have I ever caused trouble?
every damn day." And I'm gonna stand up at I'll just stand at that point, look to Eremos and kind of motion to speak in a corner for a moment.
Doran's going to kind of cheers you as you walk away and go, "My man, Verkus!"
I head to
My
a corner.
man.
Okay, I look at my man. I look to Eremos. Okay, I know you're not a fan of the guard, but we need your connections. There is a boat returning to the pier in the north part of town where they are returning from a supply journey. I don't like the way he put it. Let's get some feet there.
Let's gather some evidence.
Let's get it. And I'm also gonna say, I know Doran well enough. I've gotten letters, plenty of letters. I don't trust this man. It could be dangerous. I'm gonna do some below board things as well to make sure that this man finally pays for the shit he's done.
Listen.
And I'm gonna, at that point, just kind of clap Eremos on the shoulder and say, "You do your part, and I'll do mine."
Okay.
I'm just gonna kind of nod to everyone and say, kind of with the 4 gold, the extra 4 gold I was given, I'm just gonna say, well, apparently Doran feels very generous and has bought drinks for everyone in the tavern. And I'm going to continue to walk to my room.
Okay.
To which I am going to, using my last proficiency skill that I currently have as an Eladrin, my forgery kit, I'm going to forge plans of every illegal nature and saying where it's going to be, and have it delivered or discovered by the dwarven woman that cheated us out of 125 gold.
Wait, have it be? You're gonna send it to the dwarven captain?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Do I need to roll at all for my forgery kit?
Nope. You are able to. I mean, you're able to take enough time to like guarantee an auto success,
Okay.
almost like ritual casting a. Almost like ritual casting a spell. So
Yeah.
while you're doing this, Verkus, Kastan, you're a genius. I love it, Matthew. So Olive's going around stealing gold, and she's a small
Not
little
necessarily
creature.
gold. It's
Oh,
just
just anything shiny.
shiny coins, shiny objects.
Okay. So she goes over and ties Doran's shoelaces together, and he doesn't notice. Olive comes back to you and just like empties a little like handful of like random knickknacks into your hand. And then Gazrara, she kind of is sitting at her table and she goes, "My ring, it's gone." And Doran is like, "What do you want me to do about it?" They kind of start arguing. And then Verkus, as you're coming down with your forged documents, Doran goes, Verkus, I have something. And he stands up and just boom, just eats it flat on his face and just crashes into the ground. And then Gazrara stands up and goes, "Who casts spell that make man fall?" And she starts pointing at people aggressively.
At that point, I just say, "Oh, Doran. Apparently you just can't hold your drink anymore."
Doran's cursing and getting up, and he goes, No, my shoelaces are tied. Who would do such a thing?"
Sure they are. And I kind of motion to my bouncers and just, please show them out. They need to sleep this off. And they have homes.
So your bouncers approach them, and Gazrara looks like she's ready for a fight, and Doran goes, No, like, it's fine. We can go back to our bar and continue drinking there. And as he's being like dragged out, he goes, "Verkus, my ship arrives at midnight. 100 gold if you get them to where they need to go." And then he gets dragged out.
I pause and I just look at Eremos and I go, "I think we have about 20 witnesses to that."
Yeah. Everyone at the bar kind of looks weird. Like they're looking at Verkus and looking at the door. They just got dragged out, and they're just like, "I guess everything's fine, right?"
And I wink at my regular patrons and I say, "Let's spread some more laughter."
And everyone goes, Verkus, tell the new people who've come in about slaying 50 goblins the other day.
Oh, no. It wasn't 50. Don't worry. It was 33.
And as everyone revels for the night, that is where we'll end the session. I love it.
Love it.
Great.
No.
A little more.
No,
The pile of trinkets that Olive collected, I hand to Riza. I'm like, "Here you go. For you."
He looks down, she looks up, and she goes, "Where did you get such wondrous items, Kastan?" But you can tell she's kind of like, "What did he just give me?"
Hey, there's a ring in there somewhere that might be real nice.
Oh yeah, actually, it's she's gonna look and see the ring from Gazrara, and she goes, "Kastan, are you proposing to me?"
Oh no.
What is a proposal?
Yes, 1,000,000 times yes.
Great.
I go, as Castan's cousin, I don't think I want to.
Wait.
Bless
So
this
you're saying I
marriage.
can marry this fine, rich Eladrin and be related to my new favorite boss? This is the best night ever.
I'm not blessing this marriage just yet. You two need to date and feel it out.
Yes, I'd love to date a rich Eladrin man. She kind of
Oh.
saddles it next to you and goes, I am so glad I said yes to this job.
I'm like listening to this. I was like, oh, you found my ring, Kastan, and I pluck it right out of her hand. I'm just like,
She looks just
I
crestfallen.
was just
She's like,
like,
what?
is Olive taking my ring again? She loves this, ma'am.
Oh,
I'm so
Olive.
sorry. And
I just look at Ty, just thank you.
okay, I'll give her 2 gold. And I'm like, surely 2 gold is worth more than a man. And then I just like,
She takes the 2 gold and she goes, Mr. Genasi, Keston, Verkus, when did you start having such wealthy, kind friends come around?
I've walked away. Like,
I just, again, Ryza, other patrons.
Verkus, you are such a diligent boss. She says it in just kind of a snarky tone and walks
that
away.
was her. I would retire on what I made when I made
Seriously,
today.
I was like,
Yeah, she's feeling pretty good.
it's like a
about it.
$400 tip, basically.
But you can tell she just keeps going. She wants more. So
Smart businesswoman. I like her.
Yeah, yeah.
so
I can't say no. I can't fire her for just being smart.
with a barely avoided marriage proposal, that is the cliffhanger we shall end the session.
We will discuss proposals and such customs later, Kastan.
Yes, that's how the next session will open. Is everyone explain to Kastan what marriage
A
is?
bunch of cultural things that he should avoid doing on accident.
Yes.
The culture of the material plane is weird.
This
Money
has been a
proposals.
wonderful session, everyone. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fun stuff.
All right, I'm going to end the recording here. Thank you for watching Adventures in Jir'Haniya.